Lot 7 Lima Alpha, pushback approved, phase to the taxiway 5, startup is approved.
No commercial aircraft in the world can start its engines and take off into the air without a command of an air traffic controller.
Heading from target number 4441, surface wind 010 degrees 3 meters per second, runway 36 right, clear for takeoff.
Lives and fates of thousands of passengers are in their hands. It is a responsible, challenging and interesting job.
Australian trades you safe flight.
Safety in the sky is ensured by professionals on the ground.
Good afternoon. Wind 110 degrees 5 meters per second, QNH 1005, runway 08, clear to land.
UkSATSE is a Ukrainian provider of air navigation services of the European standard. It is the basis of the national air navigation system, which has long been a part of the pan-European system since Ukraine became a member of Eurocontrol. We use state-of-the-art equipment and adhere to international standards and procedures. Highly qualified personnel is our special advantage. For a quarter of a century, our company has been a reliable partner among the ANS providers of the European region. In the early 90s, when Ukraine gained its independence, a bold idea to create a separate company was resolutely defended by the enthusiasts who were supported by the strike of the ATC trade union. That was the beginning of the Ukrainian air navigation. The first UkSATSE's handwritten invoice on 6,800 Swiss francs for the provided air navigation services was issued to the airline Swiss Air. The newly established company has inherited difficult Soviet legacy, out-of-date and obsolete equipment, imperfect airspace structure and deep international isolation. From 1993 till 2003, UkSATSE carried out radical organizational and technical changes. The optimal routes network has been designed. The length of the airways has increased by more than 10 times. The attractiveness of the Ukrainian airspace is evidenced by the dynamics of growth in flight intensity. Over 2 decades, the volume of services provided has increased by more than 4 times. UkSATSE has proved its ability to successfully compete with other air navigation services providers, in particular for transit air traffic, which is an example of successful development of a state-owned enterprise. In 2014, Ukraine underwent external aggression from Russia, resulted in the temporary occupation of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea. There was an armed seizure of UkSATSE air navigation facilities and physical obstruction of the work of air traffic controllers and other staff of Crimea-Ruch regional branch. This created a serious threat to safety. However, air traffic control in Simferopol Flight Information Region was duly handed over to Odessa and Dnipro ATM centers. Provision of air navigation services in the area of responsibility of Ukraine, in particular in the international airspace, has never stopped. The aviation authorities of Ukraine and UkSATSE have made every effort to ensure safety. A huge work was done by our professionals in a very short time. Within 2 days, several radar positions from the southern part of Ukraine were moved and installed at the controlled area along the coastline. They provided a reliable radar coverage instead of those remaining in the occupied Crimea. Nevertheless, Russia continuously ignores international laws and Chicago Convention principles of establishment of boundaries for flight information regions. The international aviation community confirms that UkSATSE remains the only legitimate air navigation services provider in Simferopol Flight Information Region, particularly in the international airspace over the high seas, the responsibility for which was delegated to Ukraine in 1997. So, Crimea is Ukraine. In the conditions of unprecedented force majeure, specialists from Odessa and Dnipro area control centers worked out perfectly, taking over air traffic control in Simferopol Flight Information Region. The technical level of modern equipment and high qualification of our personnel make it possible to control flights in the whole airspace under the responsibility of Ukraine from any control center and to ensure a high level of air traffic safety under any conditions. The year of 2014 was marked by yet another major challenge. Russia began its military operations in the eastern part of Ukraine, in the Donbas. Due to the loss of control over the part of their territory, UkSATSE's regional units in Donetsk, Lugansk and Mariupol ceased their activities. Their functions were transferred to the neighboring Air Traffic Management Center in Dnipro. In accordance with the standards and recommended practices of ICAO, Ukraine was gradually introducing restrictions on civil aviation operations above the zone where the conflict began. However, the norms adopted in the civilized world have not saved from the savagery and cynicism of terrorists. On the 17th of July 2014, in the sky of Ukraine over its occupied east, the disaster of the MH17 occurred. It is a bitter evidence that the world aviation community should revise the requirements for safety in such conditions. Thus, the zone of the anti-terrorist operation in the Donbas was closed for civil aviation flights. All air navigation facilities in this zone were lost. But the new UkSATSE ATC tower at Donetsk airport became a symbol of Ukraine's invincibility and will to victory. Our cyborgs kept the airport's defense for 242 days. The concrete structures of the airport could not stand anymore. Due to the events in Crimea and the Donbas, transit air transportation in the airspace of Ukraine has decreased threefold. There was a general shift of air traffic, in particular the transit flow of Europe-Asia passing over the Black Sea and the east and the flow from Russia to the south. This led to a significant overload of airspace of neighboring countries, whose providers were forced to work at the limit of their capacity. This has a negative impact on the safety in the European region. Ukrainian experts, in cooperation with Eurocontrol, have developed a safety case, thorough analysis of safety of air navigation services in the airspace under the responsibility of Ukraine. Special procedures for the flight planning on 4 routes in the western part of Simferopol Flight Information Region, so-called Green Zone, were established in 2015. Currently, 60 flights a day on the average follow these routes. Analysis of round-the-clock post-implementation monitoring with the involvement of the European Aviation Safety Agency EASA confirms that Ukraine has taken effective measures to reduce the risk of dangers in this area. But compared with the pre-crisis 2013, the volume of air traffic services provided by UkSATSE in 2016 decreased by 2.5 times. This has led to a substantial reduction in the provider's revenues. The total loss of UkSATSE assets from the temporary occupation of Crimea and fighting in the east of Ukraine is estimated at more than 1 billion hryvnias. And now, the most modern ATC tower that UkSATSE built in the independent Ukraine at its own expense is the ATC tower in Kharkiv. The Fast and correct operation in such a difficult time for the country and aviation was achieved first of all due to the functioning of the joint civil-military air traffic management system of Ukraine. Established in 1999 on the basis of UkSATSE units, the system is regulated by the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, and it fully meets the current international requirements for the civil-military coordination. This is a proof of the high level of the national air navigation system development and undeniable achievement of Ukraine. After all, many countries in Europe and in the world are only approaching the creation of such a level system. UkSATSE is a full member of the key processes for shaping the policy of development of air navigation in the European region. The international aviation community recognizes our experience and takes into account our position. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development and European Investment Bank support the capital investments in modernization of air navigation system of Ukraine by credit funds. Foreign colleagues from different countries are trained at the Training and Certification Center of UkSATSE. This training facility is also certified to carry out aviation security training. The initial training of air traffic controllers of the Balkan countries will start in 2018 according to the European legislation. The Aeronautical Information Service, which issues aeronautical information publications on behalf of Ukraine, operates effectively within the structure of UkSATSE. Medical and Sanitary Unit of UkSATSE is equipped with the most modern facilities. The Aviation Medical Center operates in the frameworks of the medical unit from 2013 onwards. Its experts are authorized to carry out medical certification of aviation personnel the first, second and third classes. A growing number of foreign clients are assessed by UkSATSE medical unit examiners. UkSATSE Flight Calibration Service extends the geography of services provided. Its aircraft laboratories perform flight tests of navigation aids and approach ground facilities not only in Ukraine but also for near and distant foreign countries. Even in a very difficult period, UkSATSE continues developing and building plans for the future in order to guarantee a high level of safety and improve the reliability and quality of air traffic services. The latest and modern technologies and new routes are being introduced. Traffic capacity and efficiency of the Ukrainian airspace use are being increased. In 2016, UkSATSE opened a new modern air traffic management center in Lviv. It is equipped with the air traffic control system Roxolana, manufactured in Ukraine. Improvement of the free routes airspace is ongoing. The introduction of necessary changes to the route network in the eastern part of the European region continues. New routes are being introduced within the areas of responsibility of Ukraine, Poland and Romania. The state of Ukraine is steadfast in adhering to international treaties and agreements in the field of civil aviation and air navigation, and continues ensuring safety in the airspace under its responsibility.
Ми отримали унікальний досвід і довели, що можемо протистояти дуже серйозним викликам. Ми розвиваємося, і це гарантія надання якісних послуг усім користувачам повітряного простору України. Украерух сьогодні, як і завжди, готовий до відновлення повітряного руху у повітряному просторі України. У нас є все, щоб стати найкращим провайдером авіаційного обслуговування у європейському регіоні.
Safety, efficiency, responsibility – these concepts have been definitive for UkSATSE experts for a quarter of a century.
Prender shot 3 Tango Mike behind legend traffic and shot final line up runway 36 right behind and wait.
Traffic line up and wait 36 right, shot Tango Mike behind.